welcome back. It's 23 here, back again with some knife therapy. And before I get started, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up so I know you're enjoying the content. If not, thumbs down works as well. And if you like knife content and you're not already, come on, hit that subscribe button. Today, I'm going to be answering your guys' questions that y'all asked me for my 7K giveaway. Sorry it took me so long, but I thought this would be a great day to do it. It's Valentine's Day, and we're kind of relaxing before my wife and I go out to dinner. And it was her idea, actually. So, look, we're going to get started. I got my phone right here. I'm going to read off. I picked out a few questions. I can't answer all of them. There's a ton of questions. But we'll get started. First one comes from Shake the Tea. His questions are, what are some things that you look at when it comes to gift giving and knife? It's funny because everybody that knows me, or around me knows that if they want to give somebody a knife, they come ask me. So I always ask them, if they know what would he be using the knife for? Does he work in construction? Does he work, with heavy machinery? The type of stuff he'll be doing. So I know if he needs a robust knife. Does he take care of his stuff? Do they take care of their stuff? Do they need a little knife, a big knife? What's the price range? That's a big thing. How much they want to spend on a knife, and what's their experience with knives? If they've never owned a knife before in their life, I'm not going to give them a knife in super steel unless they have somebody who can sharpen it, because they're going to have a pain sharpening it themselves, depending on what kind of equipment they have to sharpen. A lot of times, depending on, their first knife or something, a lot of times it's hard to go wrong with the Rat Model 1 or the Rat Model 2. If it's somebody that's, in need of a bigger knife, a bigger person, then Rat Model 2. That way you got a cheap knife, you can get one of these for around $20-something, and they destroy it, no big deal. And they're more likely to use a cheaper knife than a more expensive one. And, it'll get the job done, especially the Allstate's the cheap one. If they want to spend a little bit more money, get the D2. They got smaller hands, they can go with the Rat Model 2. Another good option is Kershaw Blur. This is an S30V Blur, but this is my third Blur. My other S30V Blur was absolutely destroyed, and it still worked like a charm. Good little knife. You can also get it in Tanto. I didn't love the recurve, but it does a good job. It's a good question. Let's see. The next one is from Jack Nemo. His question was, what brings you the most joy of being a knife enthusiast? And before I started YouTube, I would say, finding that search for the next, best knife, or the next coolest knife, or trying to find that perfect knife for me, which we all know there's no perfect knife. You can get close to it, I'm sure, but you'll never find a perfect knife because your taste will change. Time, newer things come out, and it would be kind of boring if, you just kind of settled in one spot. So now, being that, I've been active in the community for a long time, it's y'all. It's interacting with y'all, making friendships with y'all, talking about knives with y'all. I think I answered that, how I feel. That's what brings me most joy is meeting more y'all, and especially getting to go to Blade Show and really meeting face to face and becoming friends with some of y'all. Y'all help me more than y'all ever know, through my issues that I've had throughout life. All right, let's see, next one. Let's see, Kyle Burton He said, I'm glad you've been able to find an outlet that helps you cope with your PTSD. My question for you is, have you ever considered forging your own knives? He said there's a show called Forging Fire. Yeah, I'm definitely aware of Forging Fire. Forging, I definitely wouldn't mind doing that if I could, if I had the opportunity, if I ever travel somewhere where that's, something to do. I would definitely do it. It's not some, my passion would, and I'm hoping to become a knife maker. I practice every day. I'm trying to perfect that skill and craft, but my means would be stock removal, a piece of bar stock. With my injuries, I don't think it would be the smartest path for me. That just with all the heat and all that kind of stuff. But I definitely would like to try it at least once. And if I could afford all that equipment, like a power hammer and all that kind of stuff, yeah, I would like to do it. Maybe I would get hooked on it. I don't know. The show is definitely awesome though, Kyle. Let's see. Poncho 151 asked, what knives did you love when you first got into it that you can't stand now? Probably say, let's see if I got any out of here. I'd probably say when I first got into it, and I'm sure this was the same for a lot of people, depending on when you got into the hobby, speed assist knives. I thought those are so cool because in my area, I live in Louisiana, in my area, up until recently, autos were illegal to buy, like online, and I wanted an auto so bad. I just thought it was so cool. So an assisted knife was the next best thing, and that's what I started with, and I thought that was the coolest thing. Kershaw speed assist. Now I can't stand them. I mean, it's not that I can't stand them. I own some assisted knives, just not something I would look out. That's a deal breaker a lot of times if it's assisted for me. Nothing wrong with them. They're great knives, and they definitely have their purposes, and they're probably one of the most sold knives from like Kershaw and all them companies, because Kershaw, even though we like to believe they tailor to the knife enthusiast, no, we're not even but a smidget of the mark. Like their main bread and butter is non-knife people that just go to buy a knife. They don't care, what steel it has or anything like that. That's why they produce so many knives in those cheaper steels. I've talked to a lot of companies and they all say the same thing, which makes sense. I mean, we're such a small portion of that, Let's see, next question. Big Stems asks, does anyone in your family have a hobby or collection that they love as much as you love knives? Not in my let's see, not that I can really think of, and unless you call my wife's love for shoes and purses, I don't know, but maybe my brother, my oldest brother, he's I wouldn't say, yeah, he's a gun collector, and we both enjoyed that hobby together. And I would say he's probably, close to that. Not as much as, I don't know. We'll say that one. Okay. W ask, my question is, what are some knives that you want to hand down to your kids when they grow up? Right now, my kids have no interest in knives. Most of my kids are in college. One's graduating from college. So, if they show interest in them, I've given my youngest boy a knife for Christmas a few years back, and he carries it all the time. And if he ever asked me for another knife, I would probably, for my boys, it would be either like this Microtech SOCOM Elite. They like the bigger knives. I know this is a tough knife, and I know they do stuff with, pry with knives and stuff like that that you shouldn't be doing with a knife. And I know this can handle the abuse, or say the XM18 be another one I know, my son would probably love to have when he gets old, when he gets out of college. And this would be something, I wouldn't mind giving him this if I still own this one, getting that to him. And, they wanted something, a nicer, more elegant looking knife. It would be the Sabenza 21 for my older boys. It's a Doppler. This is one of the nicest examples of a CRK that I have. It's so, this one is what, when you hear people say buttery smooth or hydraulic smooth in a Sabenza, this one right here, they're not all built the same. They do have excellent tolerances, but I found over the years of owning many of their knives that it all has to do with how much lock bar pressure they have on at least on the 21s for sure. It all has to do with how much lock bar pressure they have, which it creates a stronger detent and makes it, more pressure on that blade, so a little bit harder to open. And then whether you're using fluorinated grease or grease in your pivot or not. So there you go. That's for my oldest boys. My two older girls, if they happen to say I want a knife, but none of them have asked me that, and I don't know if their mom would love it if I gave them a knife. But for my oldest girls, and for my youngest daughter, I got 4 options. It would either be the 3-inch Hinder XM18. This one right here would probably, if it didn't scare them, this would be a great one for all of them. Mainly because it's easy to actuate that lock. That lock is not a huge amount of pressure, and it's easy to break the detent on this knife. And they wouldn't hurt this like, with the stuff that, a lot of non-knife people do with expensive knives, which I can't say anything. I do. I mean, this knife is starting to get some character love on it. I'm hoping the picture quality and the sound quality is good for y'all, because this isn't my normal setup that I'm doing here. Another one for them would be Strider PT, especially for my youngest daughter. If she asked me for a knife right now, and she wanted a nice knife, this is what I would give her. This would fit her hands perfectly. It's got an excellent warranty. If she breaks it, they'd fix it. Super smooth action, easy to disengage that lock, and it'd be easy to show her how to use this knife. They wanted something a little bit more dressy, and a good one to start with is the CRK Menundi, Chris Reeve Knives Menundi, and I would show them how to use 2 hands to open it, just for a safety measure. But definitely a classy looking knife, small for them. It could probably even fit in some of their little jean pockets, and another one that has an excellent warranty and would last them a lifetime, along with a small 21. This one I can definitely see me handing down to my daughter, especially now that I swapped out those egregious thumb studs and added dual thumb studs to it. So there you go. Good question, WS. I appreciate it. He said, I recently got into collecting, and before that, I only had 2 knives and I could care less. I understand that. I know a lot of people like that. But the knife that got me into collecting was a Strider SNG. What knife? Oh, I'm sorry. His question was, my fault, was what knife got you interested in collecting? I don't even own it anymore, but let's see, I'll use a substitute. We'll use this as a substitute. This is a Cold Steel Twistmaster. And for my my love for belated objects came a long time ago when I started hunting with my brothers at like the age of 6 and 7. They always carried buck knives, so that piqued the interest. But what kind of did it for me was, it's always that first nicer knife. It doesn't have to be super expensive, but for me, it was a cold steel medium Tanto Voyager that I remember, I think it was like $60. They had a little kiosk in the mall, and it was one of the old school ones. And that knife, I just loved it. It was a Safe Queen for a while. And then I went hunting and I scratched it all up, and then that's all she wrote. I was hooked, and that got me wanting to know what else was out there. So, the age of YouTube is what really kind of sparked it, because, you could really search them out instead of just buying a knife blind and not knowing anything about it. So, awesome. I'm so happy we have YouTube. Not just because I do YouTube, but let's see. Aaron, excuse me if I mess up your last name. Aaron Wallerstein. I'm sorry if I messed that up. His question is, where do you store your knives when not being carried? Do you display them or store them away? My older knives that, discontinued old rare knives, those are stored in a Pelican case. And I every once in a while I carry those, those, I get enjoyment out of carrying them. I might not use those as much just because, unless those were I used them and they're already banged up, but, I like to, it's like preserving that time period for me of whenever I started collecting. But for the most part, I have a few of the large Spidey packs, and I like to be able to see which one I want to carry in my rotation. And I also have from drop.com, I have one of them knife valet cases or whatever, and I got that on my nightstand by my bed. And that's usually what I keep my my top 10 EDC rotation. And that's kind of how if y'all ever wondering how when I do my top 10 most carried blades for whatever month, that's usually how I know which ones I carry the most, because they stay in that. They have like a bunch of little slots, and that's usually where they stay, and I rotate those for the majority of the time. And sometimes I'll stray off to one of the Spidey packs and pull one of those out of there. So there you go. I hope that this video was interesting to y'all. If y'all were interested in seeing a part 2, and there's enough of y'all that, actually watched the video. If nobody watched the video, I'm not going to do a part 2. It's kind of pointless at that point. But if enough of y'all watch it and y'all want to see a part 2, y'all just let me know down in the comments. I don't mind doing these. I enjoy it. I like talking to y'all, and I really want to start getting into more forward-facing videos, so y'all can, y'all can connect more with me as a person and know who I am. I know a lot of people asked about my accident. I have another Q&A video that I did a while back. You can probably go search it. I think it's who I am and why I started my channel. I think that was one of them that I talked about it a good bit. So if you want to know about that, you can go look at that. Or if I do a part 2, I might talk about it, because I know I got a lot of new subscribers out there. So, all right, guys and girls, I hope everybody's having an absolute wonderful day. Go enjoy your wife. Give her a hug, kiss if you have one. Tell her happy Valentine's Day. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.